r/datingoverthirty. Turtle_shock says, how do you handle ghosters who come back? In December I, 37/F, went on 3 dates with a guy, 37/M, I met on Hinge. Dates went well, or so I thought. I was starting to really like him. After our second date, his texting habits changed, decreased, low effort, so I saw the ghosting coming. He then reeled me back in with a third date, however texting frequency was still decreased. I had my guard up at that point and matched his energy. He cancelled our fourth date claiming he was sick, ghosted a few days after that. This morning, over a month since our last communication, he sends me a texting congratulating me on the Eagles making the Super Bowl. They're my team, and he hopes I'm well. Follows up by sending me football memes, like we're best buds and nothing ever happened. So what is the consensus on people who do this? Gut tells me he was dating some other chick, and it didn't work out, so now he's back at his second option. Does it ever make sense to hear a person out when this occurs, or is it a block/delete without a second thought situation? I'm honestly curious as to what bullshit explanation he's going to give me if I ask him what the frick happened to him, but rational me knows it's probably going to be a waste of time. What would you all do? Ever had a ghoster come back? Tall_disc_5375 says, I don't save a single man's number in my phone unless we have the exclusivity talk. Then I save it. That way any of the other dudes that have petered off or ghosted me, if they boomerang I just say hey sorry I don't have your number saved in my phone, who is this? Usually they're like ouch or burn and some other kind of snarky comment lol. Dig_fire says, I had a guy do this recently. I asked who this was, and he sent a picture. I genuinely didn't recognize him. So I said that. And he gave me the details of when we first met. My response was, oh, I remember you now, I'm not interested, and proceeded to block him. It has been like over a year since we last talked, and he had ghosted me. Soonerfan619 says, he reached back out because the other girl he was talking to didn't work out. Sparts says, in that situation I would have appreciated maturity from the person and just get a heads up from them rather than ghosting. Would not be able to trust them when they came back. Kung Fu Monkey 68 says, you got friend zoned. Raleigh_SS says, I just want to comment that in case you decide to respond and be strict and unapologetic about how him ghosting you and later coming back made you feel, he'll call you cold. So don't bother. On another hand, being double ghosted makes you a stronger BTCH. Rusev Day Today says, simple answer, just say no. There's a chance that there is an honest reason for it, but the only ones that spring to mind that would justify not telling you at the time are illness/mental health related. If you want to satiate your curiosity, it might be worth asking, but not with the expectation of anything. NiceAd6510 says, I have once or twice. They only came back looking for sex and nothing else. I passed. No apologies for ghosting either. Fatsakulst says, maybe he just wants a casual/FWB type deal instead of a real relationship with you? Some dudes test the waters out on this sort of thing by sporadically contacting you to see if you tolerate it. Some dudes think that makes you low maintenance and someone just down for banging around and hanging out now and again. I could be wrong, but I doubt he has any interest in a real relationship with you. If he did, there would not be these gaps in communication, but I think you already know that. So decide if you are into a casual/FWB thing, because I suspect that is all he wants, even if he isn't being direct about it. r/datingoverthirty. Hurricane 1985 says, need opinions on introducing kids. I'm looking for opinions on introducing kids. im37/f. Dating 45/m. We've officially been together for 2 months, after knowing each other as friends for about 3/3.5 years. It's been going beautifully. Communication is great. Feels very secure and just smooth progression. I have 2 sons 7 and 9. I'm not looking to introduce them now, or even anytime soon. Just preparing mentally though, if we do get to that point. Their dad has been in a relationship for 2 years with a woman, who is wonderful to my kids, and started by bringing her around as a friend. My question is, and I'm just looking for opinions. My BF has no kids. Is it more appropriate for him to broach the subject of meeting my kids? Or is it more appropriate for me to bring it up? Take initiative? I'm asking because last weekend we were out with his friends. The following day was my son's birthday party and his friend asked if he was going. Later that night we talked, and he said of course he wants to get to that point eventually, but didn't want me feeling like his friend was pressuring me. I didn't feel that way at all. So it just makes me wonder what your thoughts are. Who should initiate it? Slayaldai says. Wait at least for a year and you bring it up. Zarapitha says. 2 months is way too soon, Imo. You're not even out of the honeymoon stage. You have no idea what this guy is really like with you, let alone your kids getting in the mix. I_am_July's_piano says. Another one for you're the one that initiates. I'm a single mom dating a childless dude and I knew right away it would on me to bring up the idea. If we ever move in with each other I know I'll be the one taking the lead to start talking about it. Jesus Christ Supers 1R says. You absolutely should bring it up and honestly I feel like this is an obvious answer. I'm not saying that to be a prick. But if you're unsure about this then I'd be worried you're almost certainly not going to initiate on many other things. You should not wait for your partner to initiate any type of conversation that you think you should have or want to have. And as a guy, a woman initiating conversations with me is important. I personally wouldn't want to date someone who always wanted to wait for me to bring it up first. Would be very tiring. Assertiveness is sexy to me. Standard Wonder 523 says. As the parent, I feel it is up to you to bring this up. I'll also say that introducing him as a friend has a better chance of backfiring as a lie the older the kids get. That your co-parent already introduced someone as a friend and then upgraded that, or is she still just a friend, limits the credibility of the kids. Some kids are really not big fans of their parents lying to them. With my GF, before we got to planning the introduction, we'd started out by talking about meta topics around the introductions. That is, about how she didn't want people in/out of her kid's life, so if she did an intro she was both thinking that things were serious and someone should only accept if they thought that things were serious. Serious as in there would be a discussion and attempts to work things out if there are relationship problems. And serious in that I should run things through my head, so if I had the slightest fear that I'd get cold feet after meeting kid, I should delay agreeing to a meet until I'm r/datingoverthirty. Always explainly 5 says. Should I join old? Okay, so looking for some genuine and fairly specific advice here about dipping my toe into old. Long story short, I left a coercive and emotionally abusive relationship over 1 year ago, though mentally I'd gone long before I physically left and haven't been interested in dating or had any serious interest etc since. I do see myself with a new partner long term, but I don't want to be hooking up etc. It's just not something I'm comfortable with. I always promised I would do Christmas alone this year, and then it became move into my new apartment alone and enjoy my own space etc. But I kind of feel like now I've proved I'm independent and can cope with loneliness. That's the battle won. I know I don't need someone, but I'd kind of like someone. I just worry that I'm being sentimental and also weak, because I've been very ill recently and just really wanted a cuddle on the worst days, a trip to the beach to recover etc. Can you tell me if I'm just being weak or am I genuinely kinda ready? I wasn't expecting to be ready lol. Meow0303 says, you are not weak, I think you're so mature. I'm kinda like you, have my own space, enjoy my solitude, but there are times when I miss goodnight kisses and want to have someone who checks in on me every day. I don't need someone to complete me because I complete myself. I just don't wanna be alone all the time. I think you should try old. Just be mindful that a lot of people on old say they're looking for a long-term relationship, but most of the time they're not mentally ready. Speaking from experience. TJDG says, I don't think anyone is ready to date in the way it's conventionally meant. I think that if your self-esteem is so strong that you genuinely don't think you need anyone at all, you're just not going to be able to co-regulate within a relationship. I would argue that if you genuinely think you don't need anyone, you're not ready to enter a relationship. I think you're ready to date when you want to meet someone, you think you'll be somewhat successful in doing so, and you're not planning on making the relationship deeply one-sided, either towards you or codependently away from you. And I think you've probably met that standard. Xliv says, just do it. Adorable BG says, I left an emotionally abusive relationship and was back to dating about 6 months later, but for what it's worth, I had a lot of work to do to learn how to identify and avoid red flags for abusive behavior and to raise my standards for acceptable treatment. I did this while dating, with input from a supportive therapist. After I started dating, I went from dating folks who didn't treat me great to dating my now husband, who treats me very well, in about 18 months. There was a lot of personal growth and learning in the meantime. I'd recommend only dating if you are working out how to figure out how to prevent a repeat of your abusive situation. For many people, myself included initially, these situations can repeat themselves if care isn't taken. But the cycle can be broken. I am the Korshiyamas Opt says, I agree. The only way to know is to give it a try and see how it goes. Be self for a while you do it, and take a break if you need to. Most importantly, have fun and good luck. Cav Scout 43 says, know your limits, be open and direct, but go for it. Just remember you're looking for a partner, not a cuddle buddy. Otherwise folks just looking for a FWB/ons will likely swoop in for some easy, at least attempted, intimacy/6, if you're advertising the latter. Only you know if you're ready after a year, but if you're thinking through what you want and don't want, and are willing to establish boundaries around them, you should be good. That's all for this video. Was it good? I know not, for I'm a robot. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. This video is the product of an automated process.